the betrayal and the fall. Welcome to my channel Fallen Hearts Chronicles. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories. The perfect life that never was. Elena Hartwell stood before the floor-to-ceiling mirror in her childhood bedroom, watching as the seamstress made final adjustments to her wedding dress. The white silk gown sparkled under the chandelier lights, making her look like a princess from a fairy tale. Tomorrow was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Tomorrow, she would marry Adrian Cross, the man who had swept her off her feet 2 years ago. "You look absolutely beautiful, Miss Hartwell," the seamstress said with genuine admiration in her voice. Elena smiled softly, touching the delicate lace on her sleeves. At 26 years old, she had everything a woman could dream of. She was the only daughter of Richard Hartwell, owner of Hartwell Industries, one of the most successful manufacturing companies in the country. She had graduated top of her class from business school. And most importantly, she had found love with Adrian, a charming entrepreneur who understood her dreams and ambitions. "Thank you, Mrs. Chun," Elena replied warmly. "I still can't believe tomorrow is finally here." The seamstress packed her tools carefully. "Your mother would have been so proud to see you like this." Elena's smile faltered for just a moment. Her mother had passed away when she was only 12 years old. After that, her father had remarried Victoria, a widow with a daughter named Vivian who was the same age as Elena. While her father hoped they would become sisters, Vivian had always been cold and distant, viewing Elena as competition rather than family. The night before everything changed. After the seamstress left, Elena walked through the quiet mansion. Her father was working late at the office as usual, preparing to hand over some responsibilities to Adrian after the wedding. Adrian would officially join Hartwell Industries as vice president, a position he had earned through his business knowledge and dedication. Elena's phone buzzed. It was a message from Adrian. "Can't sleep. Too excited about tomorrow. I love you, my future wife." She smiled, typing back, "I love you too. See you at the altar." What Elena didn't know was that at that very moment, Adrian was in her father's office at Hartwell Industries headquarters. But he wasn't alone. Vivian stood beside him, her arms crossed, watching as Adrian copied files from Richard Hartwell's computer onto a small external drive. "Are you sure you have everything?" Vivian whispered urgently. "The manufacturing processes, the client lists, the upcoming contracts?" Adrian's fingers moved quickly across the keyboard. "Every single file. This is worth millions, Vivian. With this information, we can start our own company and take all of Hartwell's clients. We'll be rich beyond imagination." Vivian moved closer, her voice dropping even lower. "And you're really leaving her tomorrow? Right before the wedding?" Adrian looked up, his handsome face showing no emotion. "Elena is sweet, but she's naive. She actually believed I loved her. This was always about the business, Vivian. You know that." "What about me?" Vivian asked, touching his arm. "You promised we'd be together once this was done." Adrian pulled the drive from the computer and slipped it into his pocket. He turned to Vivian and kissed her coldly. "You and I understand each other. We both want power and money. Elena only understands love and trust. She's weak." The morning of destruction. Elena woke up on her wedding day with sunshine streaming through her windows. She stretched happily, reaching for her phone to check the time. Instead, she found dozens of missed calls from her father and several urgent messages from her wedding planner. Her heart racing, she called her father immediately. "Elena." Her father's voice was strained and desperate. "Where are you? Are you at home?" "Yes, Dad, what's wrong? Is everything okay for the wedding?" There was a long, painful silence. Then her father spoke, and his voice was broken. "Baby girl, I need you to come to my office right now. Don't go to the church. Don't get dressed. Just come here immediately. Dad, you're scaring me. What happened?" "Adrian is gone, and he's taken everything with him." Elena felt the room spin around her. "What do you mean gone? The wedding is in 3 hours." "Elena, please just come to the office. I'll explain everything." The truth revealed. When Elena arrived at Hartwell Industries headquarters, still wearing her casual clothes, she found her father sitting behind his massive desk with his head in his hands. He looked like he had aged 10 years overnight. Papers were scattered everywhere, and his computer screen showed multiple open files. "Dad!" Elena's voice was small and frightened. Richard Hartwell looked up at his daughter, and Elena saw something she had never seen before in her strong father's eyes. Complete defeat. "He played us, Elena. Adrian played us both." Her father's voice shook as he spoke. "Last night, someone accessed my personal computer using my passwords. Passwords that only 3 people knew. You, me, and Adrian. They copied every important file we have. Our manufacturing secrets, our client databases, our upcoming contract bids, everything that makes Hartwell Industries valuable." Elena sank into a chair, her mind refusing to accept what she was hearing.
No.
"No, Dad, there must be a mistake. Adrian wouldn't. There's more." Her father slid a folder across the desk to her. Security footage from last night. With trembling hands, Elena opened the folder. Inside were printed screenshots from the office security cameras. The timestamps showed 11:47 p.m., and there, clear as day, was Adrian sitting at her father's computer. Standing beside him, watching, was Vivian. Elena stared at the images, her breath coming in short gasps. "Vivian? My stepsister. I had my team check the airports," her father continued, his voice hollow. "Adrian and Vivian boarded a flight to Singapore at 6 a.m. this morning. They're gone, Elena, and they've taken everything that matters to this company." The world collapses. The next few weeks were a nightmare that Elena couldn't wake up from. The wedding was obviously canceled, and the news spread like wildfire through their social circle. But that embarrassment was nothing compared to what followed. Using the stolen information, Adrian and Vivian had already contacted Hartwell Industries' biggest clients. They offered the same products at lower prices because they didn't have the research and development costs. They had simply stolen the finished processes. One by one, major clients began breaking their contracts with Hartwell Industries. The company's stock price began to fall dramatically. Richard Hartwell tried to fight back, but without proof of the theft that would hold up in court, and without the financial resources to undercut Adrian's prices, they were losing ground every day. Elena threw herself into trying to save the company. She worked 18-hour days, calling clients, renegotiating contracts, trying to develop new products. But it wasn't enough. Adrian had taken their most valuable asset, their proprietary information. 3 months after the canceled wedding, Elena sat in a lawyer's office listening to words that shattered what remained of her world. "I'm sorry, Miss Hartwell, but Hartwell Industries must declare bankruptcy. Your father's personal assets will be seized to pay creditors. The family mansion, the cars, the art collection, everything must go." The breaking point, the stress proved too much for Richard Hartwell. One evening, while going over financial documents in his study, he collapsed. Elena found him unconscious on the floor, papers scattered around him like fallen leaves. The heart attack was massive. The doctors managed to save his life, but Richard Hartwell would never be the same. The strong, confident businessman was replaced by a frail man who needed constant medical care. The medical bills added to their already crushing debt. Elena moved them into a small 2-bedroom apartment in a modest neighborhood. She sold everything valuable she owned, including her mother's jewelry, to pay for her father's care. She took a job as a receptionist at a small company, the only position she could find after the scandal of her connection to the Hartwell collapse. The socialites who had once been her friends now whispered behind her back. The business contacts who had praised her intelligence now looked at her with pity or contempt. She was the foolish heiress who had been played by a con man. She was the woman who couldn't even see that her own stepsister was betraying her. The vow in the ruins. 6 months after the wedding that never happened, Elena stood in what used to be her father's corner office at Hartwell Industries. The building had been sold to pay debts. New owners would be moving in next week. She had come one last time to collect the few personal items that remained. The office was empty now, just bare walls and windows overlooking the city. Elena walked to the window and looked out at the skyline. Somewhere out there, Adrian and Vivian were living their dream life on money and success built from her family's ruin. Meanwhile, her father lay in a hospital bed, his spirit broken along with his health. Elena pressed her hand against the cold glass. She was tired of crying. She was tired of being the victim. Something hard and cold was forming in her chest, replacing the soft, trusting heart that had believed in love and family. "I will make them pay," she whispered to the empty room. "I don't know how and I don't know when, but I will take back everything they stole. I will build something so powerful that they'll regret the day they betrayed us. This isn't over. This is just the beginning." Her reflection in the window showed a different woman than the one who had stood in a wedding dress 6 months ago. That naive girl was gone forever. In her place was someone harder, sharper, and hungry for justice. The mysterious offer. As Elena turned to leave the empty office for the last time, she found a man standing in the doorway. He was in his late 50s, distinguished-looking with silver hair and sharp eyes that seemed to see right through her. "Miss Hartwell," he said in a calm, measured voice. "My name is Marcus Reed. I was a friend of your mother's many years ago." Elena tensed, her hand instinctively reaching for the pepper spray in her purse. "How did you get in here? This building is supposed to be secure." Marcus smiled slightly. "I have my ways. I've been watching your situation from afar, Elena. I knew your parents well, and I've seen what Adrian Cross and Vivian did to your family. If you're here to offer sympathy, I don't want it," Elena said coldly. "If you're here to offer charity, I don't need it." "Neither," Marcus replied, stepping into the office. "I'm here to offer you something much more valuable, revenge." Elena's heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean?" Marcus pulled out a business card and handed it to her. It was simple and elegant, with just a name and a phone number. "I run an investment firm. We specialize in helping people rebuild after disasters. I can provide you with the resources, the knowledge, and the connections you need to rise again. But more than that, I can help you destroy the people who destroyed you." "Why would you help me?" Elena asked suspiciously. "What do you get out of this?" "Your mother once saved my life in a way," Marcus said quietly. "She convinced me not to give up when I had lost everything. She believed in me when no one else did. I owed her a debt I could never repay. Let me repay it by helping her daughter." Elena looked down at the card in her hand, then back up at Marcus Reed. "If I accept your help, I need to be clear about something. I'm not interested in just rebuilding. I want them to lose everything the way I did. I want them to feel the pain they caused my father. I want justice." Marcus's smile grew wider. "Miss Hartwell, I wouldn't have it any other way. But I must warn you. The path of revenge is long and difficult. It will change you. Are you prepared for that?" Elena thought of her father in his hospital bed, broken and defeated. She thought of Adrian's betrayal and Vivian's smug face in those security photos. She thought of everything she had lost. "I'm already changed," she said firmly. "The Elena Hartwell who believed in love and trust is dead. What I want to know is, can you help me make them pay?" "I can do better than that," Marcus replied. "I can help you become so powerful that they'll beg for your mercy. The question is, are you willing to disappear for a while? To give up your name, your identity, and everything that remains of your old life? Because if you truly want revenge, we need to make them think you've given up completely." Elena looked around the empty office one last time. There was nothing left here for her anyway. The old Elena was already gone. "When do we start?" she asked. Marcus extended his hand. "Right now. Come with me, Miss Hartwell. By the time we're done, Adrian Cross and Vivian will wish they had never heard your name." As Elena shook his hand, she felt something stir inside her that hadn't been there before. Hope. Not hope for love or happiness, but hope for justice. Hope for revenge. She followed Marcus Reed out of the empty office, leaving behind the ruins of her old life. She didn't know exactly what lay ahead, but she knew one thing with absolute certainty. She would return. And when she did, Adrian and Vivian would learn that some betrayals come with a price they could never afford to pay. The transformation begins. 3 days later, Elena Hartwell legally changed her name. She moved to a different city where no one knew her face or her story. Under Marcus Reed's guidance, she enrolled in an intensive business program at a prestigious international school. She cut her long auburn hair short and dyed it dark brown. She started wearing glasses and changed her style of dress from elegant and feminine to sharp and professional. When she looked in the mirror now, she barely recognized herself. And that was exactly the point. Marcus provided her with a modest apartment and a living stipend. In return, Elena worked harder than she had ever worked in her life. She studied business strategy, corporate finance, international trade, and competitive analysis. But more than that, Marcus taught her things they didn't teach in business schools. How to read people, how to find weaknesses, how to be patient, and how to strike at exactly the right moment. Revenge isn't about anger, Marcus told her during one of their weekly meetings. Anger is hot and quick and makes mistakes. Revenge is cold and patient and precise. Adrian and Vivian think they've won. Let them think that. Let them get comfortable. Let them make mistakes. And when the time is right, we'll take everything from them, piece by piece. Elena absorbed every lesson like a sponge. At night, she would lie awake planning strategies. During the day, she would practice negotiation techniques and study case studies of business takeovers. She had no social life, no friends, no distractions. She had only one purpose: to become strong enough to face her enemies. She visited her father once a month, always in disguise. He was in a care facility now, his medical bills paid by an anonymous donor, which was actually Marcus. Richard Hartwell had good days and bad days. On good days, he recognized Elena and they would talk. On bad days, he thought she was still planning her wedding to Adrian. Those visits fueled Elena's determination. Every time she saw her father's confused face or watched him struggle to remember simple things, the fire inside her burned hotter. Adrian and Vivian had done this. They had broken a good man's heart and mind for money. 5 years of preparation. Time passed differently when you were driven by purpose. Days blurred into weeks, weeks into months, months into years. Elena, who now went by the name Victoria Sterling, completed her studies at the top of her class. Marcus introduced her to key players in various industries. She made strategic connections, always careful to hide her true identity and purpose. Marcus's investment firm, Reed Capital, gave her opportunities to learn by doing. She started with small projects, analyzing companies and recommending investments. She proved herself time and again with her sharp mind and cold precision. Other executives at Reed Capital started calling her the Ice Queen because of her emotionless approach to business. If only they knew that beneath that ice was a fire that had been burning for years. By the 3rd year, Marcus allowed her to lead her own projects. She successfully orchestrated a hostile takeover of a struggling manufacturing company, turning it profitable within 18 months. She developed a reputation in business circles as a ruthless but brilliant young executive who could see opportunities where others saw only problems. By the 5th year, Marcus sat her down in his office with a serious expression. "It's time," he said simply. Elena, Victoria, felt her heart race for the first time in years. "Time for what?" "Time for you to step into the spotlight. I'm making you CEO of a new subsidiary, Sterling Enterprises. We've been quietly acquiring assets and building resources for 5 years. Now we're ready to launch officially. And coincidentally, Sterling Enterprises will be in direct competition with Hartwell Industries." Elena's hands clenched into fists. Hartwell Industries? But Adrian sold it, didn't he? Marcus smiled coldly. Oh, he tried. But the economy shifted. The company he built on stolen information couldn't adapt without your father's actual genius behind it. Adrian and Vivian have been running Hartwell Industries into the ground for the past 5 years. They're desperate. They've made enemies. Their marriage is falling apart because they both blame each other for their failures. They're vulnerable, Elena. It's time to strike. Elena stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the city skyline. Somewhere out there, Adrian and Vivian were living in the mansion that used to belong to her family. They were running the company that bore her father's name. They thought they had gotten away with everything. "What's the first move?" she asked, her voice steady and cold. "Tomorrow, Sterling Enterprises officially launches. We've scheduled a press conference. You'll be introduced to the business world as Victoria Sterling, brilliant young CEO and the newest major player in the manufacturing sector. And then, piece by piece, we'll take everything from them." Elena turned back to Marcus. 5 years of preparation had led to this moment. 5 years of transforming herself from a broken heiress into a powerful businesswoman. 5 years of planning and waiting and learning. "Let's begin," she said. As she left Marcus's office that evening, Elena caught her reflection in the glass doors. The woman looking back at her was confident, powerful, and dangerous. The naive girl in the wedding dress was gone forever. Tomorrow, Victoria Sterling would step into the light. And soon, very soon, Adrian Cross and Vivian would learn that some ghosts come back to haunt you. The game was about to begin. The rise of the Phoenix. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Fallen Hearts Chronicles for the next part of Elena's revenge journey. What do you think will happen when Adrian and Vivian realize who Victoria Sterling really is? Comment below with your predictions. 216:29 Part 2. The Rise of the Phoenix. Welcome back to Fallen Hearts Chronicles. If you missed Part 1, go watch it now to understand Elena's incredible journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing stories. The grand entrance. The ballroom of the Continental Hotel was filled with the most powerful people in the business world. Crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead, and waiters moved smoothly through the crowd carrying trays of champagne. This was the official launch party for Sterling Enterprises, and everyone who mattered in the manufacturing industry had received an invitation. Victoria Sterling stood backstage, taking deep breaths to calm her racing heart. She wore a stunning emerald green dress that hugged her figure perfectly, paired with diamond earrings that caught the light with every movement. Her dark hair was styled in an elegant updo, and her makeup was flawless. She looked nothing like the Elena Hartwell who had disappeared 5 years ago. Marcus Reed appeared beside her, adjusting his tie. "Nervous, terrified," Victoria admitted. "What if someone recognizes me?" "They won't," Marcus assured her. "You look completely different. You carry yourself differently. Even your voice has changed. You sound more confident, more commanding. Trust me, Elena Hartwell and Victoria Sterling are two completely different people." Victoria nodded, straightening her shoulders. "Is he here?" Marcus didn't need to ask who she meant. Yes, Adrian Cross and his wife Vivian arrived 15 minutes ago. They're curious about the new competition. They have no idea what's about to hit them. A stage manager appeared. "Miss Sterling, we're ready for you." This was it. 5 years of preparation for this moment. Victoria took one last deep breath and stepped onto the stage. Meeting the Queen. The crowd quieted as Victoria walked to the microphone. Hundreds of eyes turned toward her, studying the mysterious young CEO who had seemed to appear from nowhere. She smiled confidently, letting her gaze sweep across the audience. "Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight to celebrate the launch of Sterling Enterprises." Her voice was clear and strong, carrying easily through the ballroom. 5 years ago, I was given an opportunity by Marcus Reed and Reed Capital to prove myself in this industry. Tonight, I stand before you as the CEO of a company that will revolutionize manufacturing in this country. She clicked a remote, and a presentation began on the large screens behind her. Sterling Enterprises has developed new, sustainable manufacturing processes that reduce costs by 30% while increasing quality. We've already secured partnerships with 3 major international suppliers, and we're ready to compete for every major contract in this industry. In the crowd, Adrian Cross leaned toward his wife Vivian, whispering urgently, "Who is this woman? Why don't we have any information about her?" Vivian's perfectly made-up face showed concern. "I don't know. She appeared out of nowhere. But did you hear that? She's going after our contracts." Victoria continued her presentation, outlining Sterling Enterprises' aggressive expansion plans. She was deliberately targeting every sector where Hartwell Industries was currently operating. This wasn't just business, this was a declaration of war. When the presentation ended, applause filled the ballroom. Victoria smiled graciously and stepped down from the stage. Immediately, she was surrounded by business leaders wanting to introduce themselves and discuss partnerships. Through the crowd, Victoria's eyes found her targets. Adrian Cross was taller than she remembered, his handsome face now showing signs of stress around his eyes and mouth. Vivian stood beside him in an expensive designer dress, her expression cold and calculating as she watched Victoria. They looked successful on the surface, but Victoria had done her research. She knew the truth. Their marriage was a disaster. Hartwell Industries was struggling. They were drowning in debt and making desperate decisions. They just didn't know it yet, but they were already losing. The first strike. The next morning, Victoria sat in her corner office on the top floor of Sterling Enterprises headquarters. The office was modern and elegant, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a view of the entire city. On her desk sat 3 folders, each one representing a different battleground in her war against Adrian and Vivian. Her assistant, James Chun, the son of the seamstress who had altered her wedding dress 5 years ago, knocked on the door. "Miss Sterling, the team is ready for the morning briefing." Victoria smiled. James had no idea who she really was, but she had hired him because she knew his family was honest and hardworking. "Excellent. Let's begin." In the conference room, Victoria's executive team waited. She had carefully assembled this group over the past year, the best strategists, negotiators, and analysts she could find. They were loyal, skilled, and hungry for success. "Good morning, everyone," Victoria began, standing at the head of the table. "Today we make our first major move. Hartwell Industries is currently bidding on a contract with Meridian Corporation for their new factory equipment. It's a $50 million contract that Hartwell desperately needs to stay afloat." She clicked her remote and financial projections appeared on the screen. "We're going to submit a competing bid. Our price will be lower, our quality will be higher, and our delivery timeline will be faster. We're going to take this contract from them." Her chief financial officer, Robert Martinez, raised his hand. "Miss Sterling, if we price it that low, we'll barely break even. Is it worth it?" Victoria's smile was cold. "This isn't about profit, Robert. This is about sending a message. Sterling Enterprises is here, and we're not playing games. We're here to win." The unraveling begins. 2 weeks later, Adrian Cross sat in his office at Hartwell Industries, staring at the letter in his hands. His face had gone pale, and his hands trembled slightly. "They beat us?" he said in disbelief. "How did Sterling Enterprises beat us on the Meridian contract?" His project manager, David Kumar, stood nervously in front of the desk. "Their bid was superior in every way, sir. Lower price, better quality guarantees, faster delivery." Meridian's CEO said it was an easy decision. Adrian slammed his fist on the desk. "This is the 3rd contract we've lost this month, all of them to Sterling Enterprises. Who is this Victoria Sterling woman, and why is she targeting us specifically?" "I don't know, sir, but she seems to know exactly where we're vulnerable. It's like she has inside information about our operations." After David left, Vivian entered the office. Her relationship with Adrian had deteriorated significantly over the past few years. They barely spoke unless it was about business, and even then, their conversations usually turned into arguments. "I heard about Meridian," Vivian said coldly. "Another failure." "Don't start with me, Vivian," Adrian snapped. "Where were you? You're supposed to be managing client relationships." "I was trying to save the Thompson account, which is also threatening to leave us for Sterling Enterprises." Vivian shot back. "Face it, Adrian, we're losing. This company is falling apart. We wouldn't be in this position if you hadn't pushed me to expand so aggressively last year," Adrian accused. "Oh, so now it's my fault?" Vivian's voice rose. "You're the one who said we'd be billionaires by now. You're the one who promised that stealing from Hartwell would set us up for life. Well, where's that life, Adrian? We're drowning in debt, losing clients every week, and now some mysterious woman is destroying us. Their argument was interrupted by Adrian's secretary buzzing in. Mr. Cross, you have a call from Marcus Reed of Reed Capital. Adrian and Vivian exchanged surprised looks. Marcus Reed was a legendary investor. Why would he be calling them? Adrian picked up the phone, putting it on speaker. Mr. Reed, this is unexpected. What can I do for you? Marcus's smooth voice came through clearly. Mr. Cross, I'll be direct. Reed Capital is interested in acquiring Hartwell Industries. We're prepared to make a very generous offer. Adrian's heart raced. This could be their way out.
I'm listening.
However, Marcus continued, my CEO, Victoria Sterling, would need to personally inspect your operations and review all your financial records before we make a formal offer. Would you be available for a meeting next week? Adrian looked at Vivian, who nodded eagerly. Yes, absolutely. We'd be happy to meet with Miss Sterling. Excellent, Marcus said. I'll have her assistant arrange the details. Good day, Mr. Cross. After hanging up, Vivian grabbed Adrian's arm excitedly. This is it. If Reed Capital buys us out, we can pay off all our debts and walk away with millions. Adrian wasn't so sure. Why would they want to buy a struggling company? Something doesn't feel right about this. Who cares? Vivian said dismissively. This is our chance to get out before everything collapses completely. We'll take the money and start over somewhere else. What neither of them knew was that Victoria Sterling had no intention of buying Hartwell Industries. This meeting was just another move in her carefully planned game of revenge. The confrontation approaches. The following week, Victoria prepared for her visit to Hartwell Industries headquarters. She stood in front of her bedroom mirror, studying her reflection. This would be the first time she had been back to that building since the day she made her vow in her father's empty office. Her phone rang. It was Marcus. Are you ready for this, Elena? It had been so long since anyone called her by her real name that it startled her. I think so. But Marcus, what if they recognize me? They won't, Marcus assured her. I've seen the security footage from that launch party. Adrian stared right at you for several minutes and didn't show any sign of recognition. You're a completely different person now. What about Vivian? She's too focused on saving herself to pay attention to anything else. Trust me, you're safe. Now go show them what you've become. Victoria arrived at Hartwell Industries in a sleek black car with tinted windows. As she stepped out, wearing a sharp business suit and carrying a leather briefcase, she paused for just a moment to look up at the building. This place had haunted her dreams for 5 years. Miss Sterling, a nervous young man approached her. I'm Adrian Cross's assistant, Michael. Mr. Cross is waiting for you in the conference room.
Victoria smiled coolly.
Lead the way, face to face with the enemy. The conference room was exactly as she remembered it. The same long table, the same view of the city, even the same abstract painting on the wall. But everything else had changed. The room felt darker somehow, less vibrant. Or maybe that was just her perception. Adrian Cross stood up when she entered, extending his hand with a practiced smile. Miss Sterling, thank you for coming. I'm Adrian Cross, CEO of Hartwell Industries. Victoria shook his hand firmly, looking directly into his eyes. She felt a strange mixture of emotions. Anger, disgust, and a cold satisfaction. He had no idea he was shaking hands with the woman whose life he had destroyed. Mr. Cross, she said smoothly, I've heard a great deal about you and your company. Vivian entered from a side door, and Victoria's breath caught for just a second. Her former stepsister looked older, harder. Her designer clothes and expensive jewelry couldn't hide the stress lines around her mouth and eyes. This is my wife, Vivian Cross, Adrian introduced her. She handles our client relations. Vivian sized up Victoria with barely concealed hostility. In her mind, this was another woman trying to take something from her. Miss Sterling, I must say, you've made quite an impression on the industry in a very short time. Thank you, Victoria replied, sitting down at the table and pulling out her tablet. I believe in making an impact. Now, shall we discuss your operations? For the next 3 hours, Victoria asked detailed questions about every aspect of Hartwell Industries. She reviewed their financial statements, their client lists, their production processes, their employee structure. Adrian and Vivian answered as best they could, trying to present the company in the best possible light.